today I wanted to do a quick video on something that a lot of people neglect. So you'll know from one of my other videos, I don't like the sound of creaking bottom brackets. And another annoying noise when you're out is the sound of a creaking pedal. They can get quite grumbly. The good news is, I use Shimano XT and XTR. I've used quite a lot of them, but I find those to be the most reliable. Apart from I've got some very nice petrol finish Bontrager's, which I've been using recently. But anyway, long story short, why do I have these? Well, these have been neglected a bit. I have got them in because in our extended period of lockdown, isolation, etc., I have been riding Zwift, as have many people. And I've also got other people in the family riding them. And whilst I use clips, they don't. So you can see they're a bit rusty. We'll deal with that. But more importantly, before I take them from the bike that has been outside and made all that rust and show you how to get rid of that, I'm going to show you how to quickly service them, because a lot of people out there make a bit of a meal of it. So it's pretty easy to do. What is annoying is you think you can use this 15mm spanner. You can't, it's a 16mm. And rather annoyingly, with these XT pedals, the flange here is wider than here, and this is wider than the area where you want to get a pedal. Now on the normal XT and XTRs, like the trail pedal and the even with a slightly larger platform, this is a lot easier to get to. Anywho, put that aside because I didn't use it. I was very naughty, I did try to use it, and you can see I've damaged the thread a bit. But you can undo these, he says. I'm glad I did bring these. You can undo these pretty easily, as long as you get past a certain point. I wouldn't normally do this, but these, as you can see, these pedals have seen better days, and we are trying to do a video. And they are very fiddly, as I say. I couldn't get like a box spanner over the top. I've never, in the true sense of making videos, I've never actually used one of these before. I've only serviced my standard XT and XTRs, but I'm not expecting there to be any surprises. You never know. Apart from dropping it, of course. So, yeah, there's not many surprises here. This is extremely dry. Normally there is a load of gunk here. And what people normally do is they dismantle this whole thing. I mean, why would you dismantle all that when all we're going to do is fill that up? As you can see there, we're going to fill this hole here with grease, screw it in a couple of times, and it should all feed through. Now, to not waste grease, so it should all squeeze through here. To not waste as much grease, now I do have a grease gun which fits over these, the finish line one. It's very good, but it has a tendency of not being able to be found exactly when you're doing a video. It's fantastic. Now this is all clean, which means there's been no dirt ingress, and what little lubricant there is has not been contaminated. It's not the case with all of them, and it's strange because this, well, although this is a mountain bike pedal, it's a mountain bike pedal I put on more for sort of light duty work. But if we now screw this in, slowly but surely, hopefully it'll be a bit easier and we won't need the, he says, we will need the wrench to help get that in. It should start pushing the grease out from the top, so it'll all come out of here. And you may need to do it a couple of times, but this is a lot quicker than dismantling the whole pedal, and I have run some of these pedals for many, many years. And I know a lot of you will be going, my God, is he really using that? And yes, I am. And you'll see that nothing will go wrong for it. So these, for some reason, are very, very hard to screw in, and so I'm not going to do the demo. I'll do what I'm going to do is I've got some XTRs that need doing. So what I'm going to do is modify this one slightly and push it in here and show you at the same time how you get rid of this. So any excess grease you need to get on here. Now what's amazing, so don't use thick grease on your pedals. I mean, you can do, but then you'll twiddle your pedals and instead of going brrr, they'll go or not even. So you don't really want a very thick grease. This is a very thin, I'd say, grease. You're not going to lose a lot of watt here, but if you are obsessed with that, you can obviously get a much thinner oil. I don't recommend this for the longevity of your devices, but if you fill this with a lot thinner sort of chain oil, for example, a wet chain oil, and screw this in, the oil will all come out, etc. But generally those seals are pretty good. One of the problems you get now when you put the grease in is you can pop the seal out. You can try and pop that seal back in, but in my experience, once that seal has popped out, it's kind of popping out all the time. I don't know if it's a spare part or not, but the trick from there on, from my point of view, is just to keep this well greased. But again, let me know if I am wrong there, and you can easily get hold of that part and that seal. But yeah, the great thing about this ceramic grease, and apologies for the probably awful noise, is that you can put them on these rusty parts and it will clear it up. It's quite amazing. If it doesn't, you need to get your good old WD-40, which, as you know, stands for water displacement, so it will get rid of this. And worst case, I'll let you know how this gets on. I have in the past, obviously you can replace, these are replaceable parts, but you can sand them and then grease them. You can sand them and paint them with, there's a Hammerite spray on rust grease paint. But yeah, I mean, these should be pretty good to go. So we'll also oil up these springs, and this will be ready for some smooth lockdown swifting action for many revolutions to come, and hopefully not leak oil all over the carpet. Yeah, I mean, if you are trying to go for those extra watts, I wouldn't use the liquid oil option on your best carpet in your wherever you've got your Zwift. It is likely to leak a little bit. But this grease obviously won't. Hope this helps. Going to be doing more and more of these because who knows? Yeah, we've got time. My poor old bike is opposite me, where it's been grounded since people scared me a few weeks ago. Going for a ride. I live in the centre of London, which makes it particularly difficult, even though people are safe distancing in many areas. One thing that people really underestimate is simple things like, for example, traffic lights. There are a lot of traffic lights in London, and whenever people stop at them, you have everything from people in cars very close by, but also cyclists. I mean, there is no safe way for a bunch of cyclists to safe distance at a traffic lights in London, because cars do not respect the advanced cycle box, and even if you do, the advanced cycle box was designed pre-COVID coronavirus times, and at safe distances you could probably fit 2 or 3 cyclists in there at most on most roads, and that's probably a 2-lane road. When you're on a 1-lane road, probably only 2 cyclists. So swift it is, but of course you can do as you like, as long as you stay with the law, obviously. So yeah, quickly, finally, I don't know if you can see that there, but the grease is finally squeezing out past the, so you can put it down here. You can see this grease is finally squeezing out past the seals. We'll see if this seal actually pops out or not, but having shown you that, I've now made it almost impossible for me to grip this. So yeah, there you go on there. I'm sure you can see. So that is the extent of what's come out. You can run your fingernail around and see that the seal is still perfectly intact. I don't know if you can see there, I basically just ran my finger around like that, and the seal is perfectly intact. So yeah, job well done. I don't know if you can see from here, but that oil is pretty filthy. I mean, obviously it's a black glove, but as you can see, clean grease is that beautiful white colour, and the filthy grease that came out is that colour. That is mostly just around the seal, so it hadn't impregnated inside, but the longer you leave this, the deeper and deeper this black gunk will get inside, and eventually it will damage it, because this is full of grit. Obviously, now one thing to remain is, before you put these back in, make sure that you use this lovely good grease and grease this interface up, because this is steel and a lot of the aluminium inserts are alloy. But either way, just to stop it seizing and make it easy to get on and off. And don't over tighten your pedals. I've seen in some of even the GCN videos, they're showing you how to get off an over tight pedal. There is no reason to over tighten your pedal. You see there, it says tighten, and here it says tighten. You'll see they both tighten in the same direction. The reason for that, let's not get my filthy grease everywhere. That sounds wrong. Is so they don't come undone whilst you're riding. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get on. The next videos are, there's going to be more food videos because I am shut in doing a lot of food. I've got a new series coming out of wines that we all drink. Certainly I drink, and I know probably a lot of you will probably need to get through this period without committing any heinous crimes in the home. But that should be fun. I've always wanted to do that. It's a great excuse. Going to get a few wines out, give them a few scratch and sniff tests, and basically go, is it plonk or is it a stonker? Yeah, the other stuff is food, obviously. And I'm going to be doing a lot of the inside of my Land Rover, because there are a lot of things like pulling the part of the floor up and the seats out, which I haven't been able to do because as a father, I am basically a taxi driver. And I've had to do all of these kind of runs to all these social events which have now been cancelled. So I can rip up the floor of my Land Rover and turn it into something like a Flintstones car. And there's something real exciting. So I'm going to replace them with aluminium, but I've got a project that is coming soon, which is going to put some much nicer things in the Land Rover. So yeah, and I've also been working on, if that wasn't enough, something else I'll tell you in another video. Thanks a lot. Bye.